All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Monday, February 18th, 2019, and we just finished with week two of the AAF. So we have our week two AAF pick'em results to go over here in just a moment. But it was a pretty good week. The football quality of play looked a lot better. There were some comebacks. There was some defensive scoring. It looked like more polished football. The teams looked better. The offenses overall looked better. Even the two bottom feeder teams in the Legend and the Express looked a lot better, looked more cohesive on offense. The defenses looked pretty solid too. We had one shootout actually this week in the Commanders and the Apollo game. So we can get into this and we'll talk about the games individually as we go over them. So we have our Saturday games, of course. We have the first game, which was played between the Birmingham Iron and the Salt Lake City, or the Salt Lake City's team, which is the Stallions. Sorry, I should have put Stallions in there. Salt Lake Stallions or whatever. Who cares? I thought the game was going to be 27 to 22 with the Iron winning. It turned out to be a lot more low scoring of a game, a more defensive oriented game, kind of solidifying that the Iron have a very good defense, back to back points, allowing less than 10 games. They allowed 0 the first game, only 9 this round to a pretty talented offense that Salt Lake showed in the first game against the Hot Shots. But that's not what we're talking about right now. But this game ended up being 12-9. The Salt Lake actually led this game, I believe, 9-6 going into the fourth quarter, and then obviously the Iron scored with Trent Richardson to score the game-winning touchdown and kind of end the game, having a comeback in the fourth quarter to lead them to a now 2-0 record and to keep pace with the Apollo, who also won their game. Salt Lake falls to 0-2 after having a tough opening schedule, having to play the Hot Shots, one of the better teams in the league, and the Iron, one of the better defenses in the league. So they've had a tough go at it. Hopefully they can turn it around and get the win next week and not have a golden sombrero, which is three negative things. In baseball, it's 3 strikeouts in a game. In football, I believe it's the 0-3 start to a season. But they showed not really much in this game. Their defense looked really good, limiting the Iron to just 12 points. But their offense was very stagnant. Again, I think that was more thanks to the Iron defense, who kind of seemed to have one of the league's better defenses, shutting out the Express and also limiting this team to just 9 points. Overall, good game. Fun comeback. Very good game for the AAF to have. A comeback, home team winning in the fourth quarter. Very cool, very exciting. Good for the league. Good for the Iron. Salt Lake needs to get their season kind of figured out, or else they'll be looking. They'll be out. They won't make it if they go 0-3. Let's move on to the second game of the Saturday doubleheader cap. We had the Memphis Express hosting the Arizona Hotshots in a game I thought would be 33-17, with the Hotshots kind of blowing them out. But it was a lot cooler and a lot closer of a game, being 20-18. The Express showed some life on offense. They all of a sudden looked a little bit competent as a team. Their defense looked pretty good, holding the Hotshots to just 20 points, which, I mean, this team scored like 37 points last week against the Stallions, who held the. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things when you look at, you know, they did pretty good. Their team looked a lot better than they did against the Iron. The Express did, and they were leading this game, I believe. What was it? 18-6 going. Yeah, it was 18-6 going into the fourth quarter, and or something very similar to that. It might have. Oh no, this game was. It was 12-6 going into the fourth quarter, and the Express scored, making it 18-6. And then the Hot Shots just scored 2 touchdowns really, really quickly, making it, of course, 20-18, getting the win. But it was a very fun game. Everybody thought the Express were going to pull the upset of the year in this early game against the Hot Shots, one of the favorites to win the league. One of the odds-on before this game, the best team in the league, a lot of people thought, but the Express made it close, showed they actually have a good team, showed they might actually have a competent offense as the season gets going and as the team gets more comfortable as they play together. Yeah, they looked a lot better. The Hot Shots didn't look so good against a really bad team, or what is projected to be a really bad team. So, 2018 very close, but they were able to come back rather quickly to win the game. So that's good. They moved to 2-0. The Express fall to 0-2. Not exactly a great start for them, but this, I believe, puts the Hot Shots in first place in the West by themselves. The Iron reside in the East and the Hot Shots in the West, so they're the only 2-0 team left in the entire Western Conference in the AAF. And the Express and the Salt Lake City are like the bottom feeders of their respective conferences. And I believe the Iron are tied with the Apollo for first. So that's pretty cool. Besides all that, yeah, that was a good game, fun to watch, and I guess we can move on. What this showed me is the Express are an evolving team. They're gonna need probably about week 4 till they look really good. Then they'll be pretty solid. And the Hot Shots, I think, got caught off guard in this game. Um, and that explains the late comeback, all the late points. I think they came out and thought they were gonna dominate what looked to be a really bad team, like a lot of people thought they were going to be. But they, bad game. I believe it was raining as well, so all those things considered, it was a good game, fun comebacks in the first 2 games. We had, a comeback in the fourth quarter in either of the affairs. So fun opening weekend, or fun second Saturday of the league. Good for the league. A lot of people are enjoying the AAF because of games like this, because of the big hits, because of the refs letting them play. It's fun. It's going to be a pretty good league for the NFL to have as a partner, maybe a minor league type system. It's fun. Let's go to the Sunday games. We had the first game in what was the very first shootout of the league in the league's history. We had the San Antonio Commanders hosting the Orlando Apollos. I thought the score. Oh, by the way, I'm 2-0 in my picks so far. I predicted the Iron and Hot Shot would win, and I also now I'm 3-0 because I predicted the Apollos would beat the Commanders. I thought it would be 25-22, but the score was actually 37-29. This brings the Apollos to 2-0 and tied for first place with the Iron for with in the Eastern Conference. They're tied for first with the Iron, and the San Antonio Commanders fall to 1-1 after the 29-37 loss in what was a really fun shootout. I believe the I'm trying to remember how this exact game went, but I believe it was basically the Commanders were leading in this game at some point, and it changed very quick after Logan. I believe it went into the fourth quarter, and the Commanders were up by some score. I don't think they were up by a lot, or the game was very close, but it was all of a sudden a 14-point swing the other way, and the game never really recovered. Like, the Commanders were ahead the entire game pretty much, and the Apollos were just kind of coming back, nipping at the heels, and the Commanders would score points, keep the lead going. And I believe this game, yeah, this is the game where, yeah, because Logan Woodside's the quarterback for the Commanders, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I believe this is the game where the Apollos scored a touchdown, and I believe it made the game tied, or it was like they took a small lead. And then on the very next drive, the Commanders threw an interception, and the big guy for the Apollos ran it in for a pick six. So I believe that's what happened in this game, and then the game just never recovered, and the Apollos just won the game out, even though the Commanders led most of the game. It was a fun shootout. The Apollos scored like two touchdowns on almost consecutive plays, so that kind of deflates you, knocks the wins out of you, and sends you to 1-1, while the other team moves on to a 2-0 record and ties for first, knocks you into second place. Tough loss for the Commanders, especially at home. I believe they were the second home loss in the AAF, so at least you weren't the first one. The Express were the first home team to lose in the AAF history. The Commanders were the second. You never want to be the first people to lose at home. So, and you probably lost to the best team in the AAF in the Apollos. So, you know, that's something to consider if you're the Commanders. You played good against a good team. You led most of the game, and then an unfortunate 14-point swing knocks you right out of it. What are you going to do? It's deflating. You really can't recover from 14 that quick, especially late in the game. And then our final game, which was an absolute stinker, and that's why I didn't live react to it last night. I didn't want to watch two 0-1 teams play against each other, even though it probably was a lot better of a game than I thought. I believe the Atlanta Legends showed a lot more life in this game. Like, they aren't going to be the worst team in the league, but they are going to be the worst team. They looked bad. At least they scored 9 points in the first quarter, which was 3 more points than they scored all last game. So they looked a little bit more competent, a little bit more confident on offense. They scored, I believe, 1 touchdown and a field and a couple, and they booted 2 field goals in. So they scored some points. But the Fleet, after the first quarter, the Fleet took the lead and never looked back. They looked a lot more competent. The Fleet quarterback, the guy who got drilled, I believe, through. Oh no, it was a different quarterback. I forgot the guy's name. It wasn't Mike Buravici or whatever. He threw the ball like as he was getting hit behind, like he was running, and he threw it like it's very bad to do it. He like threw the ball over his head, not looking. Like he pretty much just like lobbed it backwards, and one of his receivers caught it, and it was a positive play. So he got very lucky that it wasn't intercepted. It just he got lucky, and it made a pretty good highlight if you want to go look it up. San Diego Fleet versus the Legends. Look up no look pass. It's pretty cool. And it helped his team. This was the biggest blowout of the afternoon, like we've seen in the other games. It was a shootout in the Commanders Apollos game. That ended with a 14-point swing, and then we had the Iron and the City, and this Iron and the Stallions. Come back by the Iron, the Hot Shots and Express come back by the Hot Shots. Then we seen the Commander Apollos had to come back with kind of a bit of luck, 14 points and interception, and then the Fleet just kind of beat the Legend. That was it was a boring game. I got this game correct as well, though I thought the score would be 16-12 and ended up being 12-24. I got the Legends points right, so I felt good about that. The Legends fall to 0-2, the Fleet go to 1-1. So tied for second place in their conference, and the Legends are in just last in theirs. So that's not too bad. It was a pretty good week. I went 4-0, guessing on these AAF football games. My AAF pick'em record to this point: week 1 I went 3-1, only getting the Iron beating the Express wrong. Then week 2 I went 4-0, and overall I am now 7-1 in my AAF pick'em. And yeah, that's pretty much the week, I believe. I hope I didn't get anything too wrong. I don't think I did though. So anyway, I will be posting my week 3 AAF picks tomorrow or Wednesday, just depending on when I get around to it and when I see the betting lines out, so that I have more to work on and I can add that into the video, and it'll just be a little bit better made and what have you. So thank you guys so much for listening, liking, and subscribing to the channel. If you're new here and all that, and you've done all that, I really appreciate it. I noticed it. I've been commenting and all that fun stuff, trying to keep the channel growing. With all that being said, like this video if you enjoyed the content, if you enjoy the my version of a week 2 highlights, where I just kind of tell you what happened to the best of my ability. And then subscribe to the channel if you're new here. You want content, like you want to see more content from me. I do live streams a lot, so those are always fun. Yeah, leave a comment if you have anything you want to say about the AAF. It looks like it's a pretty good league so far. I'm enjoying it. It's looks like it's going to stick around for a couple years. If things continue at the rate that they're going, it's only going to get better and more popular. Yeah, so thanks a lot, guys. I'll respond to your comments if you leave any. Yeah, have a good rest of your evening, and peace out.